Hello, everybody. It's time for another Mr. Man story. So far, we've done Mr. Moody and we've done Little Miss Bossy. So I think it's time for another Mr. Man story. So I'm just going to the box. I'm going to take one from the middle somewhere. And this story is going to be the story of Mr. Grumble. And I think we all are a bit of a Mr. or a Mrs. or a Miss Grumble sometimes, aren't we, when we're not feeling very happy. So we'll find out just what he does about it and whether he stays Mr. Grumble or whether he cheers up. Now, I'm sure you're all getting very good at your colours and your shapes and sizes of all the Mr. Men. So I don't know, can you remember or do you know Mr. Grumble? He's got a frown, looking a bit grumpy. What colour is he? He's got an unusual colour. Actually, we don't often have this colour. Although I can see in the back of the picture of the screen here, I can see my glasses case. And that is a clue to the colour of Mr. Grumble, who is, of course, purple. I don't think he changes to green, although he does have a little hat on. What colour is the hat? The hat is indeed green. And there is Mr. Grumble, looking rather grumpy. Purple, looks like a big plum, doesn't he? With a little green hat on. Okay, let's see what Mr. Grumble has to say for himself, shall we? Mr. Grumble's name suited him well. All the Mr. Men and Little Miss stories, their name suits them really well, doesn't it? Bah! He would grumble every morning when his alarm clock rang. It's the start of yet another horrible day. I bet they weren't really horrible. It's very easy to say it's a horrible day, but actually, if you look for good things, usually it's fine. Bah! He would groan every afternoon on his walk in the country. I hate the countryside. One day, just after he said this, someone suddenly appeared by magic. I wonder who that would be. Who do we know that appears by magic? Well, what do you know? It was a wizard. Who I think is called, isn't he called Wilfred? Was that his name? Wilfred the Wizard? I can't remember. We talked about him last time. A wizard to whom Mr. Grumble had the nerve to say, Bah! Bah! I hate wizards who suddenly appear by magic. Really? Said the wizard. Well, I don't like people who are constantly moaning and grumbling. I'll tell you what I do to people who have bad manners. I turn them into... what's going to turn them into? Oh, no. I turn them into little pigs. And there he is. You can tell it's still Mr. Grumble because he's got the same hat on, hasn't he? But he's been turned into a pig. And the wizard disappeared, leaving behind him a very piggy-looking Mr. Grumble. Mr. Grumble was afraid he might remain a pig for the rest of his life. That's often the thing with spells. We don't know how long they're going to last, do we? But 5 minutes later, by magic of course, oh look, he's changed back into his old self. Because he's not a wicked wizard, is he? He's just tried to teach me lessons. He set off again and happened to pass Little Miss Fun's house. She sounds a nice person, doesn't she? Little Miss Fun. He liked, oh, in fact, she says, look, come in, she cried. I'm having a party. And there is Little Miss Fun, who's bright orange and freckly and got a little blue ribbon, I think, hasn't she? And looks very happy. Mr. Grumble went in, but when he heard Little Miss Fun's guests singing and laughing, he scowled. Bah, he moaned. I can't stand singing and laughing. He would have done better to keep quiet, wouldn't he? Because I wonder who's going to appear. The wizard appeared once more. I see that my first lesson wasn't enough, he said. If I'm going to teach you to stop grumbling, groaning, and moaning, I'll have to do more than turn you into a little pig. Now, I'll have to turn you into... what? No! I'll have to turn you into a big pig. And it's still Mr Grumble, look, because he's got his little green hat on. And it looks like he's at the party, but he doesn't look very happy. Mr Grumble, in fact, did not like it one bit, although Little Miss Fun, all her guests, thought it was very funny. Please, begged Mr Grumble, turn me back to normal. I promise I will never grumble, groan, or moan ever again. And he feebly wiggled his curly tail. And in fact, you can actually see there, look, as a pig, you can see he is actually crying. The wizard, who's a very nice man, took pity on him and changed him back into his old self. And then the wizard disappeared again. Then Little Miss Fun jumped onto the table and pretended to be a clown. And there she is, look, she's got a funny nose on. Bah, said Mr Grumble, who was not amused. Bah, I can't stand people who jump onto tables and pretend to be clowns. Well, you can guess what happened next. He turned into an enormous pig. Look at that, a ginormous pig. Still got his little green hat on, so we know it's him. An enormous pig whose face was red with embarrassment. Oink, wailed Mr Grumble mournfully. And then this enormous red-faced pig made a solemn promise. Never again will I grumble, groan, moan, or snort, he said. Good, said the wizard, suddenly appearing once again. And Mr Grumble changed back into his old self. And actually you could see there, look how big he was as a pig. He was enormous compared to Wilfred the wizard. So Mr Grumble changed back into his old self. Well, actually not exactly his old self. Look, oh, you can tell the difference. Look at that nice smile on his face. It's amazing, isn't it? And later, Mr Grumble went home. And tired after his exhausting day, he went straight to bed. He slept the whole night without once grumbling, groaning, moaning, or snorting. But not without, of course, snoring. So he didn't groan, grumble, moan, or snort, but he did snore. Now, one of the questions I always have about the Mr Men books is do they ever take their hats off? Because we only ever see them with pictures, don't we? And they're wearing their hats or they're wearing their ribbons, so they always look the same. Well, I have evidence that Mr Grumble, when he goes to bed, he takes his hat off. And can you see why I know? The hat is on the corner of the bed. He is not wearing it. So that is the story of Mr Grumble. So quite a quick one, that one. So we'll put that back. I hope you're enjoying these stories. I'm going to carry on. I don't know whether we'll have time to read all 86, but we'll give it a jolly good go. I hope you enjoy them. And if you ever get the chance to have any comments or let me know or tell me stories you want to hear, you just let me know. Thank you very much for listening. Have a great day or evening or night or wherever you are, whatever you're doing, and stay happy. Bye-bye now.